Hello everyone, and I welcome you to the World News. I am Medhavi. Okay, this is funny. I did not expect US to do this because I told you India has made a 10-year deal with Iran for the entire Chabahar Port. This deal was awaited for a long time. Finally, this deal has been completed. Now we see that many articles are coming, where it is written that USA has directly threatened India that if any country does business deals with Iran, then that country will have to remember that US can impose sanctions. Yes. Here you will be able to see the article US warns of sanctions after India-Iran Chabahar Port deal. And many articles have been published on this over and over because the spokesperson of the Department of State, which is the USA, directly said that if you deal with Iran, then you will definitely come under the radar of America's sanctions. Well now, here you guys can ask a question. Is India genuinely afraid of sanctions? If Chabahar Port is here, India has already done a lot of work related to Chabahar Port. Chabahar's deal with Iran was finalized to a large extent in 2016. Now in the recent deal, it is simply written that the entire Chabahar port has been given to India Ports Limited for 10 years, and 10 more. This deal will be automatically renewed every time at the end of the year. USA is also facing problems due to this. Look, there are many angles to look at this whole story, and I will tell you all. The first thing we have to see here is whether India should take the threat of USA seriously or not. Because see here, we are not talking that US can impose sanctions on an Indian company. We have seen that many times. I have also made a video on this, that if any Indian company chases oil from Iran, then US it definitely imposes sanctions on that company. For example, in 2022, you will remember that the US had imposed sanctions on an Indian company because it was purchasing oil from Iran. Apart from that, most recently you will remember that the USA had imposed sanctions on 3 Indian companies. Sanctions have been imposed on them because according to USA, these companies were helping Iran so that Iran could supply military drones to Russia. Till now what we were seeing was all these talks of private companies, but what about India? To the government, because the Indian government is directly developed in the deal that is going on with Iran, so will the USA impose sanctions on the Indian government? Well, here too we will have to see the previous track record of the USA, which is largely duplicitous. In the year 2022 you will remember. If not, then I will have to remind, because I can understand in geopolitics that you are also busy in life, following many other things. Sometimes we forget the sequence, and it is my job to remind the sequence. In 2022, you will remember that USA had directly warned India not to purchase oil from Russia. Here you will be able to see the article US warns India against rise of oil imports from Russia. And I will not just show you the article here. I will also show a clip from 2022 where the spokesperson of the White House was asked by a journalist that, look, we do not yet have an ambassador to India. At that time Eric Garcetti has not been assigned deployment to India, so how we will put pressure on India? How to put it? How can we press India that they should not purchase oil from Russia? This was asked by a journalist, and in response to this, the spokesperson of the White House said that yes, of course we want that India should not purchase more oil from Russia. Here you will be able to see. This is a very interesting video. It is a lot of fun to see the thinking of USA. It means that they believe that we will run the world. That is why USA is saying this. And when the journalist asked that how will we pressurize India? In response to this, the spokesperson will say that
be confirmed. How does the lack of an ambassador to India impact our ability, America's ability, to pressure India not to work with Russia in providing any aid or assistance?
Conveying clearly what the consequences of violating sanctions would be and what the mechanisms are, and also making clear that that we do not think India should accelerate or increase imports of Russian energy and other commodities, even as obviously those decisions are made by individuals.
Now you heard in this, the White House spokesperson was openly saying that we do not encourage India to purchase more oil from Russia. Do not consume oil from Russia. The deputy NSA of USA at that time was of Indian origin and warned India not to do trade deal against Russia. What did India do? India ignored it, purchased Russian oil in record quantities. What could USA do? In the end, nothing. India purchased so much oil from Russia that India easily saved $25 to $30 billion. Overall, if I talk, Indian ministers have said that oil prices and petrol prices in India, if we had not made these savings, the inflation rate would have increased much more in India. If India had not saved these $25 billion by purchasing Russian oil, and when finally USA understood that India did not agree with them at all. Listen, Eric Garcetti, who is the US ambassador to India, says that, to save the face of USA, he says that, Russian oil, hey, we had told India to purchase Russian oil. This means complete face saving of a declining country, of a declining superpower, which knows that the big countries of the world no longer listen to it. The sanctions are heard in one ear and are released from the other ear, so this is what I told you. An example has been given as to what will happen in the case of Iran, and what is the value of USA's sanctions today. And if we look beyond all this, so here a factor of China also comes, we will not have to ignore it. Recently you would know that after a gap of 18 months, China finally deployed an ambassador to India. Now this is a very important message to the whole world, especially to USA. USA will not be happy to see this, because obviously there can be nothing better in American interest than a war between India and China, two big Asian countries which can possibly replace USA in the future. As the world's growth engine, these two countries, if they fight among themselves, it would be a dream for Americans. And now suddenly it seems that the dream of USA is turning into a nightmare, because China has sent its ambassadors. This conversation is happening on regular basis. China, by the way, has again become India's top trading partner, replacing USA. All these things will obviously not be liked by USA. Obviously USA is noting this. You or just look at the fact that just a few hours before India-Iran deal takes place and immediately after that comes the reaction of USA. Then see what happened in the case of purchasing oil from Russia. You will see the same in the case of India-Iran. India investment in Iran will also do business in Iran, will also do trade. If I say that eventually the way China is purchasing oil directly from Iran even today without worrying about USA's sanctions, if India also starts doing so, then in reality it will come to light that the world does not care a single penny about USA. Still you can say, to some extent, India has maintained friendship with USA. That India is not purchasing oil from Iran, but I think in the coming few years that will change as well. India wants. He will come and say that, look, your oil ban on Iran has been going on for many years and there is no end result of it. Will this ban work forever? Otherwise we are now starting to purchase oil from Iran. So it remains to be seen what happens on eventually. The reaction of USA is very interesting. It is quite surprising indeed. Some special updates come. After this I will bring the updated video for you later. And finally here I will ask you a question about the deal made by India and Iran. The US is angry about this. How many $1 million will India invest in Iran's Chabahar under this deal? The particular amount of $250 million has become India's soft loan to Iran. Apart from that, how many $1 million will India invest in Iran? Here your options are 100 million, 120 million, 500 million, or 50 million US dollars. Many articles have been published whose literal headline is this. So answer in the comments section. I will give heart to the comments of those who give the correct answer. I will try so that others can understand what is the correct answer. And finally, this is the end of the video. Thank you for listening. And as I always say,